Okay, actually, first, thank you all for coming today. This is my podcast relaunch. When I first started Culture Crew has been through a lot of different transitions. When it first started, it was my friend Sade and I who wanted to start a podcast to talk about pop culture. Then when we started it, we were like, it's just, there's so many other topics out there to talk about than pop culture that are like more important. And it started off because the CEO of, I think it was, Yahoo at the time or something. She had a baby and she only went on maternity leave for like a week.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and that was like a big topic because it's like, okay, yeah, there's pop culture, which we all like as working professionals, but then there's also these topics out there that are like very important, and it's like to be, and at that time I didn't have Creed or anything like that, but it was just like, what is it saying to other people when the boss and the head leader of a company goes on maternity leave and then only takes 1 week? What does it say to other people? How does it make them feel? So then we decided that we're not going to talk about pop culture. We're going to talk about other topics. But being Liberians, we wanted to open up the topics to the diaspora. Then the reason I'm relaunching with a vision board was because in 2018, I did a vision board, and a big topic on my vision board at that time, I still want Culture Crew to be about the diaspora, Liberians, but I want to open it up to other places in Africa. But then also I wanted to start off with women empowerment because it was a big thing for me in terms of like, not just being an influencer, but then like just like I have a good circle of women around me. I have strong women around me. The reason I decided to move to Liberia at that time was because there was a female president. My mom had a great position. My aunt was a superintendent, and I went there for vacation, and I decided to stay strictly on some women empowerment type stuff. I went there and I saw so many women in my family that were doing big things, and it just motivated me. My friend Tanya was living there. She was doing big things, and it's like I wanted to go there and contribute to that as a Liberian person. So anyway, and I thought it'd be perfect because on that vision board I put empowering women in 2018. A lot of those things at the time I had, having a child, getting a house, getting married, a lot of things that thanks to the man upstairs, the good Lord, he has provided for me. But one of those things that I haven't really done is the whole woman empowerment type aspect of it. And then that was on my vision board for 2018. And I really want to, I dropped I was getting my master's. That was on my vision board at that time, was to graduate. So there's things that we're going to do today that, a lot of the discussion has been like, well, what's a vision board or what do you do? I feel essentially it's like your goals, things that you want to accomplish. Doesn't have to be within this year, but it can just be what you strive to accomplish within the next coming years. And most people write it down. Maybe you have it in your head, but then maybe just putting it down on a board to look back at. And I wish I had my vision board here because I moved, but I definitely have it somewhere because I look back at it, and it's like a lot of things that aren't accomplished on it yet, you know what I mean? But there's still some things that are. So Culture Crew is my baby, and I want to relaunch today with the vision board party amongst us. I also wanted us to have a discussion. So we're going to start, everything's over here, magazines, the board. So everything's not going to be filmed also. So it's just going to be us like doing our goals and visions. Joy, she's selling some of her body butter over there that she actually hand makes herself. And Joyfully Creative.
Joyfully creative.
Yep. So that's the name of the brand. They smell really good. They make your skin feel soft. It's wintertime. It's cold. You don't want to be caught out here with ashy hands, ashy feet, ashy anything. So she's going to keep you on lock with that. And then also I'm selling a couple items over there, which are going to be some notebooks that have like little messages on them. Also like a water bottle, a mirror compact. I know people are into coloring boards, so some African inspiring color books. And then some little pouches. You can put your makeup in it. You can put whatever your things are in it. And they all have little messages on it. Then that Maryland bin up there actually has some goodies in it. It's secret, but there's some good goodies in there. And I'm raffling. So these are raffle tickets. They're $2. And there's a vase that I had here already, there's actually only 3 raffle tickets in there right now. So the odds are in your favor. And you pay $2 and you get a raffle ticket. You put the thing in a raffle, and then you get what's in that Maryland tin. You get the Maryland tin itself and all the contents within it. If you just get the raffle or whatever. So that's that. We can get to that later. Obviously, there's food, drinks, and everything. So for now, I just want us to, because I know we started late and people got to go, but I want us to get started on the vision board aspect. And then while we're getting started, I want us to have a discussion on a topic. I'm not going to say the topic now because I don't want too much thought to go into it. I want it to be pure and exactly how you're feeling at the time, but we're going to start 15 minutes in and we'll get started on the topic. Okay? All right. So the discussion today, I feel like even if this doesn't apply to you per se, I would like your perspective on it. You may have girlfriends that are in the same situation, but it's one of those topics that is very complicated. So what I wanted to talk about today was when you're dating and you've been dating for a long time and you're ready for marriage, what is the guideline and the timeline for you to tell the guy if you feel like he's taking too long, when you guys first met? Yeah, that's just the basis of the conversation, basically. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's one of those things where I feel like we're all in the age now to where we're ready for marriage. And where dating in the past was like, okay, yeah, we could do this. Look, we can take 2, 3, 4 years and just be dating. You know what I mean? But now it's like time is of the essence. We want other things, and you can't necessarily waste 2, 3, 4 years dating if you don't know where it's going. So I wanted to open up the floor to see if, your views, your ideas on when is it too soon? Is the first date too soon to bring up your expectations? Is 1 month too soon? Do you give them 6 months? What is the timeline? And obviously, we don't have men in this discussion because they are the people who we truly need the answer from, But I just wanted to get your take on it as women, because I feel like this is a conversation that I have a lot. I had prior to marriage, and then I still have now within my circle. So can I open up the floor?
So I think it depends on where you're coming from, the age, and of course your experiences before. Mm-hmm. If you're coming from more of a biblical approach, you should be using the time to make sure you are where you need to be. Too many times I think women tend to focus on society saying this is the next step, this is what's needed, and we have things to work on. And if we're trusting that our maker made that specific person for us, that specific person will step to the plate when it's needed. Too many times, because we're in this age of women empowerment, we want to control everything. We want to be able to say, here's the package. Oh, you look like the person I want to be with. You look like the one I want for a partner. I can date you. Rather than saying, let me prepare myself for what it is that God has in store for me. And so sometimes we turn men off. And men are becoming better at reading and being able to navigate this new world of the women being empowered, and then it's like, oh, she's one of those, she's one of those. Yeah. I think dating should be about truly being open, being able to communicate, but being honest. Too many times we keep a mask on, we fix our faces up this way, we make it put together, but we're broken inside, haven't healed, and we're looking for this person to complete us. And they are saying like, but who is the real person I'm seeing? Or I'm getting this vibe. Yeah, they talk a good game, but what's really behind that? And sometimes we rush into that conversation. Date the person, get to know them. I want to go ahead and hang out with you. I'm not on a time schedule. And I say this based on my experience. I didn't find my husband, or he didn't find me, until I was 31. And I thought, oh my gosh, our time is over and this. And he was actually 41. And we didn't have our first kid until I was 35. And then we had the second at 40 with no help. It was just, it happened. But when we met, we spoke on the phone, just having conversations as people had matched us. Like said, friend said, "Hey, you go ahead. I think this is a good person for you to meet." Neither one of us wanted to see pictures, and we had a conversation on a Sunday. We met each other physically on a Friday, and that Friday night he was like, "Okay, I think I'm ready to take this to the next level." Wow. And he pretty much that night essentially proposed and said, "Well, I guess a short engagement will be in tow." And we're married the following September. We met in October. Wow. But I felt at ease, and I was the person who was like, "No, you're supposed to date. You're supposed to do this." But I felt at ease, and I remember when I talked to my dad about it, he's like, "So how was the meeting?" I said, "I feel like I've known him all my life," and it makes such a huge difference to be paired with the right person, because when life storms and things come, you want to have that friend who knows you inside and out, not the cute person, not the been put together and stuff. They got to see the ugly cry before you marry them. They got to see you without the weave on.
Yes, that was something I did early on too.
Yes,
having dating someone that we grew up together. We went to the same high school, so we had that commonality where we knew the same people. We were from the same area. We share the same immigrant story, but he's from El Salvador, so he's not black. He's not Liberian. But I'm like, you don't know nothing about black people. But you have black friends. You grew up around black people. But I was like, one of the things that I did, like as we're dating, and we kind of dated fast too, because we felt we knew each other. So we talked on the phone a lot, dated. And I know one day I was like, he wanted to see me. I was like, "Oh, I'm busy. I'm gonna be taking out my tracks." And he was like, "Oh, I still want to come see you." So I was like, and I mean, he would be upset that I'm telling this story, but I was like, "You gonna help me?" He was like, "I don't know what to do." I was like, "All right, here,
not running tracks, but taking out your
tracks, exactly." And so I exposed that to him early, because I'm like, I'm a black woman that's gonna be doing a lot of stuff with my hair. You gonna learn that. Because then fast forward to this girl I know, she's one of the daycare teachers, and I forget where she's from, but she's married to an El Salvadoran, and she wears wigs, and he has never seen her without her wig. She sometimes will go into the closet and make sure, I'm like, "You doing too much. You doing too much. How many times you just want to come home and take that joint, slam exactly in the car, and you be like, yes." So I'm like, and so she's like, "Oh, I have a closet where he doesn't even see it." And I'm like, "What?" And that goes to you. I mean, how do you? This person doesn't know you if they've never seen you without or you're in your most natural setting, or
So my question is now back for you, Fasia. So let's say you met your husband. He knew what he wanted quickly. You felt like you said you were 31. Like, man, I'm 31. Like, what's happening? What if you met him, you liked him a lot, you felt like he liked you a lot, but let's say he wasn't on that, because you were lucky, quite frankly. Let's just call a spade a spade. You were blessed. He saw what he wanted, and he communicated that with you, and it was that. In a situation where that doesn't happen, you feel like he likes you a lot, you definitely like him a lot. Is there a timeline? What do you do? Like, because you felt like you were 31. Do you waste? Do you go up until you're 30? What if y'all date?
It sounded like she was ready to go for however long.
It was dating. I was fine. I was like,
it's
okay,
the perspective.
correct.
Of the person.
So the history from the background was I came out of a 13-year relationship. Like, finally, maybe 4 months before he and I met. So I was gun shy, like, I don't even want to get to know anybody again. And am I ever going to get to know anybody like I knew this other person and all of that? But I think because so before I met this guy, there was another person that came on board, and he said God has shown him that I was supposed to be the wife for him. And I was like, okay, but
I didn't see that.
I said, can we just be friends until God shows me the same thing? And then I went back in prayer, and I was like, God, help me to have the insight that I need for the person. I don't want anyone to just confuse me and shock and awe me and everything. Let me not focus on the package, but I want the character that's after your heart. So because the package that he sent in the past, I was like, God, I love you, but I don't know, I'm a first lady material and stuff like that, but I want to serve you, but I want someone to do it. So my husband is not someone I would have chosen for myself had I seen him or socialized with him first. But because I got to talk to him before and just we were connecting on that level, it was different. So I think when you're in a relationship and someone, and guys are simple. I've been told this from guy friends. They're like, look here. Guys, we will date certain people, we'll marry certain people. The ones who will marry, we probably won't date because we can't mess it up and everything like that. And those are from boys who were like players, and all of that, right? And I was like, well, that's not fair to the girl who, just feel like, why can't they date me? Don't they find me this way and stuff? But when you get older and you realize it, it's like when a man finds a good thing, a wife, he finds a good thing, right? He's not going to keep you on the market. So if he's stalling, there's a reason. So if he's saying like, well, I got to get this together first, or I want to do this. Yes, I like you, but I want to get to know you.
You don't think that's legitimate? Because some
is at an age too.
Yeah.
But if somebody is truly like, so guys in their 20s, sometimes they're like, you want them to experience life because you don't want to be the ones coming back later on saying, for them saying, I feel like I haven't lived. I jumped into this because marriage is a serious commitment. And it's one that you don't want someone to feel you're dragging them into it because it's hard enough already. And women are already mature. And so when it comes down to like maintaining a home, planning for the future, doing this, and then when kids come, it just compounds it. So you want a willing participant to come into this because you're going to have some storms. You're going to ride it with them, but you want to know, like, I'm not trying to convince them. Once you get into that mindset of, I got to convince the person that I'm the one,
But then, so, like, when you're dating, do you then, because your situation was unconventional, but do you then have this, let's say you're going out on a date and you're like, okay, you know how some people say be intentional with your dating. So then do you say, you don't want to scare somebody off, but like if we go back to the first date conversation, do you say that? Or I think if the conversation goes that way, I think you should talk about it, but I don't think it should be some way you come to the table, you order your appetizer, you're like, so I need to get married in a year. My vision board said I don't.
But some people say, because I've had this discussion, that's why I wanted to bring it up in a group or whatever, because some people say that like, if this is what you want, and for Sia, I love the fact that you were kind of patient with it, and I get it's good to be patient, but quite frankly, it's like, when you want kids and you want certain things, not everybody is patient. You know what I mean? And it's like, so what is the
I would like to add, just coming from a perspective of someone who is governmentally single but in a relationship, because I am. So I feel that
single by government,
because your boyfriend or girlfriend. Listen, if he goes, you don't have rights to anything. That he owns.
Correct. Okay.
So governmentally single but in a relationship. So
what people need to know.
So what I like to say is, I think friendship is most important, and I think sometimes if you think about how when you have your best friend or something like that, it's a different level of relationship and connection that you have with that person. So when you are in a relationship with a significant other, sometimes you have arguments, and one thing my boyfriend and I will do is like, hey, you're still my friend. How would you treat your friend? How would you treat your very best friend that you always want around, because your significant other can be annoying. You don't want to get it, but then with your friend,
you should
like your best
person.
friend. You always want your best friend around. You want to do things with them. You want to be partners with them. So I think it's a different level of relationship. It's friendship, and it should also be that deep love connection. And I don't believe in chasing. If you feel like you're running out of time, this, that, and the other, that's limitations that you're putting on your own self. So if you're coming from a spiritual perspective, which I do, what is for you is for you, and it will never pass you by, and it will never go to someone else. So sometimes, it could be like someone who was in a relationship with someone, and at the time when they were younger, they thought they would always be together, be together. That person passed away, and it's a shock to them that I was never supposed to be with that person. I thought we were supposed to be together forever. We were planning a lifetime, but then you meet that other person who now that you're traveling the rest of your life with. So I think in shades of gray. I never think in black or white. Like if you are rushing to get married, rushing to have a child, you have all that, but then the significant other or the the partner who had the child with you leaves and goes. Yes, you have your child. Yes, you have that rush, but maybe you weren't aligned with them. So I also believe in alignment, because when you meet someone, sometimes they're at a 10 and you could be at a 5. And people have different personalities where it takes them a while to get to the 10, and then maybe that person is down at a 5. So being on alignment in the same scale, communication is very important to me. In a relationship, I don't think you should rush anything. I don't think you should go seeking for it, looking for it. That doesn't mean when you have it, don't act appropriately. When you get it,
I would kind of agree with that, because it's one of those things where I feel like I talk to Nana about this all the time, and I say that like had I met him at a different time, he was ready, I was ready.
Right.
Period. So he came with what he came with his seriousness. I came with my seriousness. Our seriousness met together, and that's how it happened. But yeah, you know what I mean? But it's like there are situations where it's not to say that the person who you could be with, it could just be bad timing.
Yeah, bad timing.
You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where it's like, do you let it run its course? Because you could let it run its course and it could pan out. You know what I mean? You could spend 4 years with the person, and then at the end he marries you and you guys live happily ever after. But it's scary, because when you're 34 and you spend 4 years with someone and it doesn't pan out, you're 38.
Yeah, but you also
and do
have
you feel
to
like you've lost good years.
And it's like, how do people feel that way when I feel like we're learning too as well? It's like it's not just one thing. It's like a series of events.
Right.
Some people are helping you learn. Like,
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
like learning from this person. You might be a different person for the next person.
Correct.
The whole
Yeah.
time you're getting ready for another person, but this person has some particular things that you can be ready when the time is right.
Yeah.
And we're just so limited to think that one person is, but the whole thing is like streamlined. Like we're all in a journey.
Correct.
Everything's a
But then,
lesson.
do you sometimes think that we as women, we tend to wait for this person to be aligned? Like she said, that's one thing where this person's a 5 and you're here, but then you're like, okay, do I wait for this person to get?
I guess that's the discussion here, because it's like that's what confuses me. It's like, what do you do? Like, if you're happy in it, but you do want this thing, and you know that they're not quite there yet, what do you do? Because you really want this, and you really want to get somewhere, but this person isn't there yet. What do you do? How long do you wait? Do you give them a year? Do you give them 6 months?
Where you
But you
talk
have to
about
be
it, say,
ready to
okay,
walk
yeah,
away.
yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
recognize. You have to be able to.
And I guess from what they
That is
say,
what's important to you.
if they're like, if you're like, oh, okay, well, what do you think? I guess maybe you can pose the question like, where do you see us in 5 years, 10 years? And if they're like,
that's a dangerous question, because
Yeah.
some people feel pigeonholed. It's like, what do you mean?
yeah, and they don't want to think about that.
My
Yeah.
reaction would be, if this is our
Like,
first
why you
date,
asking
my
me?
reaction would be us.
Us? First of all, I don't even know if I'm going to see you next
Like,
week.
let's start bringing it back to ourselves, or like just point it back to you. Stop making it about the other person.
That's
At the end of the day,
true.
It's not about them. It's really about you and how you grow through it. So to me, like, marriage is not a goal for me.
Right.
Like, it's literally not a goal. So I can't be disappointed by
By
it.
it,
It's not even,
yeah.
like, if it happens, that's just the way it formed out to me.
Correct.
But it's really not on my radar. So I just get to be free to be whatever.
And
I
that goes to
come.
what Facia was saying too. Like you're
Yeah, I
just,
love it.
like how you were saying, not to say prepare yourself,
yourself. I feel
but
like
know
you're
yourself
learning
and
yourself.
just,
But
yeah.
apart from marriage not being a goal, and I feel like because I know Aileen, you know what I mean? If you don't mind me saying this or whatever, it's like if you talked about the spiritual aspect, marriage is not a goal, but some people want to get married because they want to have kids. You know what I mean? And so that's that aspect of it. So it's like,
I feel like you gotta be, not just know yourself, but you also have to be brave enough to follow through with whatever it is. Because whatever, I went on a date, and it was our first date, and the guy basically told me within the conversation, I don't know how it came up, that he had just gotten out of the situation, and he isn't ready for a relationship. I know what I want. I know what I'm looking for going forward. So that right there is an opportunity for me to then choose. Am I going to continue dating you? Because then there's you literally just told me you're not ready.
Right.
And sometimes we tend to hope that
Yeah.
we're
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
We're
Yeah.
the exception to the rule.
And we can change
Yeah.
people.
You never
And
know when you're the
yeah.
exception to
Correct.
the rule. And if you continue then you end up getting heartbreak and all of
It's
that.
so much easier to walk away in the beginning versus when you have like years invested.
Exactly.
And it's like that person, you know, sometimes people change. It's like, it's really easy to be in a relationship and you're going through the motions and you look up and it's been years. Right? Like for me, like I was with someone and we broke up and we got back together with the intention of working on getting married. And a year went by and it was like, you know, I wasn't pushing, I wasn't asking questions, but I'm just like, okay, when is this going to start happening? And then, you know, it was kind of like a cloud over what we had, because in my mind, I felt like I wasn't getting what, you know, you told me. You know, in his mind, he's just like, well, you know, he just wasn't ready. And so then what do? So it ended up just pretty much exploding, where it's like we both just have to walk
Expectations
away.
were not met.
Yeah, you know, but at the same time, like you said, I don't want to drag someone. You know, like it's not like you had a verbal contract and you said you're going to do this.
Yeah.
So you know, it's very hard to walk away, but it's so much easier to walk away in
Early.
the beginning. And I see, you know, just through people I know and stuff, you know, I see people get married and then within a very short time they get divorced. And I'm like, I used to be like, what happened? Maybe sometimes, but now I see how it's easier to keep going, even though it doesn't feel 100% right, than to walk away and
Correct.
have to, in your mind, like start over. It would have been so much easier. I still kind of feel like, even though I know it would have ended horribly, but to keep going.
Correct.
Because walking away was very, very hard.
And I think that's something we take relationships and put it in a whole separate category than the rest of your life. Every day you make choices. And so every time you in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or, you know, a romantic relationship, there are choices in how you engage with that person, how you get to know that person. But we take that romantic relationship and put it on this whole different planet. And time goes by. There's a 24-hour period that's going. And you may start off saying, oh, no, it's just a casual thing, or it's just a friendship and things like that. But then you look back, wow, 6 months has gone by, or a year. And then we live in a society that's driven by time. It's like, oh, how long have you been dating? And all the time. And he hasn't been married yet.
Exactly. When you're like,
and they don't give you the support to say, like, they can say, you've been dating for 5 years and he hasn't proposed yet?
That's
But
true.
you're not asking, are you, like,
right.
are you're in
Are
this
you-
relationship, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you growing in what? So that we don't have these detailed conversations to really give good advice, because I mean, it's $1 billion industry for a reason. The wedding industry, the baby, and we fall into those things and stuff. And sometimes we need the strong girlfriends around us. And then when our close friends start to do those life changes, we have to check ourselves as well to understand, like, okay, this is their time. Doesn't mean my time won't come, but this is their time. But because in our minds we're like, girl, we're gonna have our kids together. We're gonna get married together. And so then we feel like, but this isn't working out. I need to match this person. And we fall into this whole thing again, like, I'm taking control. I'm in charge. And it's like, no. God loves this person even more than I could ever express love for them. And they created someone for them. So the best thing I can do is pray for you. Yes, I can introduce you to people and everything, but I'm not taking that as my responsibility. And I'm not putting you on edge like I'm this one friend. Because before I met my husband and the long-term relationship that we had ups and downs, during the down periods, I used to think like I'm just the third wheel to my older sister and her husband. And then I got to go my friends and everybody's just looking at me, waiting to set me up with somebody. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not interested. Because it's just like, it's that whole cycle. And nobody wants to be the, here we go again. Put your smile on. Let's walk through the door, because everybody's going to want to match you up with someone. And as they're matching you up based on you as that single friend. And you've also evolved. You've grown. Your interests have changed. You continue. I mean, you didn't stay stagnant. You know, you grew. And so sometimes it's just when you meet somebody, having a conversation about who they are. Forget the dating aspect. Yes, down the road you can say, yeah, would you like to hang out again? Or I kind of like you. But be honest in like, why am I hanging out with this person? Is it just because the cuteness, or he looks like he's driving the latest this, or he's dressing this way? Or do I want to get to know him as a friend? Because you can have friends.
I also say mental health is wealth. Sometimes you'll be in, my little saying, you'll be in a situation where you're not mentally well, mentally healthy, but you'll continue on it because you feel that you need it to survive.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of relationships are in states of survival where it's like you can't see what is going to happen without this person, so you're just going to stay in it because that's how you know how to survive.
Something better than
But
nothing.
like Fasi was saying, like you have to know yourself. And I think relationships are largely built on the character of a person as well. If you're an athlete and a competitive by nature, sometimes you will go for the person who is a bit of a competition for you because you can't see yourself failing at anything, and women tend to take it on themselves. Why did something fail? What did I do wrong? And when the other person said, "Oh, it's not you. It's nothing you did wrong. It just didn't work out." It's like, no. It's something that I did. What can I do to make it better? And that's when mental health and everything becomes very important, when you realize what you need or that you're worth somebody, really treating you well and saying, oh, okay, I'm not going to hurt this person because this person is my friend. We're going to take care of each other. Then you won't feel the need to chase, I feel, or you won't feel the need to feel that you need this person to survive. So in all things, I say mental health as well, because we all may or may not have had that girlfriend where they will speak horribly about a relationship. I'm done. They're not done.
Yeah.
It's because they're not mentally prepared to break away and survive without that person. So I think evaluation of where your own mental health is before you can even speak on anybody's situation, because all of us can say, oh, you'll never know what you do when you find that person. Has everybody ever seen that the strongest drug for a person is another person? That's an addictive type behavior. So I think some people do have addictive type behaviors, and that transfers into relationships. So it's a lot deeper as to why
Like that may be another discussion.
furthering on. But for the most part, I think that knowing yourself
I think knowing
and
yourself
what kind
is
of
like anchoring
person,
yourself, like in knowing, like that's
You
the only
are.
way you're gonna make it. Otherwise, people are gonna move you. Like even projections of other people, we're picking them up. Like if people are shouting like, when are you gonna get married? When are you gonna have kids? Those are their dreams. Like some people don't even want that, but they're so used to people expecting that they think that they need to have that plan. They don't even really want that. They really thought about who they are. Do I really want to be a parent, or is it because that's what society kind of programs?
Exactly.
Like, that's how I've seen it. For me, I'm like, I actually know I don't want a family. Like,
But I'm not saying don't let them go. Go chase your person.
And mind you, that's saying like I don't know what's
Right.
When I became a mother, I wouldn't stop that either. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I don't know what I'm gonna become. You know, there's so many different things that are happening in ways you're moving. God has a different plan.
Correct.
We think we have one thing, but it's not as great as the plan that's being devised already. You know, and I feel like some of us create anxiety through that, like not knowing.
And then the pressure you think,
And then you run into not being able to have kids.
right?
And then you're like, this was my
okay.
whole image. I wanted to have kids. And what do you mean I can't have kids?
kids.
And then you go on to this other thing now where it's like, we gotta have kids. So you're pumping money and resources in. Exactly.
Because birth to me comes in different ways. It's not just in giving birth to like a physical body. You give birth in so many different ways. People ignore that. Like those are important too. We don't put the same value on them. I think work and love relationships are the two things that I think we put the most value on. When there's so much, like people have great friendships. Nobody's having weddings for those, or like
It's like I feel like, and you literally said that perfectly, because it's like I feel like when we have a boyfriend or girlfriend situation or whatever, and we break up, it's like you feel like that's the biggest thing, but it's like losing a friend would be traumatic. But it doesn't really happen. You know why it doesn't? It does happen sometimes, but it doesn't happen as often. You know why? Because it's like, I think somebody said it earlier. It's like you treat your friend. Go back to friendship. You know what I mean? You treat your friend like, so if your boyfriend were to do something that your same friend would do, you would let it pass because you treat your friend probably better than you treat your boyfriend. You know what I mean?
Like, oh no, you're not taking my best friend.
I think that it's important from my standpoint of where I am in my relationship and the relationships I've been in. I've noticed that it comes down to your love language. I'm not sure if you guys touched on that, but someone may receive love in a different way that you give it, right? So if you think that you're giving all this love, but they're not reciprocating it that way, you know? And it's like, okay, well, obviously I see that's how you want to be loved, but me, I'll need kisses and hugs and affirmations and, compliments, you know? And then other people, they'll just say, oh, well, just cook for me or just clean this or whatnot, you know? So I think that when you're getting to know someone, I'm not sure if you guys are big on zodiac signs either.
Yeah.
I am. I have
Yeah.
drives is, you know, and sometimes the air sign and there's, it just don't mix, you know. But I think that like you guys said, touching on friendship, right? You have to always come back to being friends because at the end of the day, you're two different people, and it's like, okay, you're probably battling certain things like family, you know, whatever have you, and then if they might be turning it around on you. You know, you think it's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that communication is like paramount, and for me, in my situation, being single, I think to kind of try and relate to this conversation, it would be having the conversation on, are we exclusive or not? Like, is this a relationship or not? And I think that, I mean, once you're comfortable enough and once you know the answer, like, it's probably time to communicate, but communicate without expecting a direct answer or an immediate answer. You have to also allow the person time.
And also be okay with the answer that they tell you.
That you-
So
right.
if we go, like, you
Exclusive
say yes or good, if you have
So
to fall apart, like, I had
discussion
to
saying we're boyfriend and girlfriend and we're only
I
with
think,
each other.
yeah, I feel like these days there's so many blurred lines between like is there anyone else? Like, is this just you and me? Are we investing and this is something we're considering long term, or are we just still dating?
So what's long term?
So, well, I'll piggyback on that.
All these terms are so different.
Yeah.
If you ask somebody what their definition of dating, you will get 5 different answers. Because everyone has their own interpretation of what the word dating means. Dating could be we're exclusive. Dating could be I'm going out. And
That's right. I'm figuring out.
What about like one of those just pick
Pick
one?
one.
Like, you should actually be dating.
But you know, it's funny. And I feel like that's another topic in itself because for some people it is difficult. You know what I mean? Some people can date around and be like, but then other people are they compare, they do certain things, and it's like maybe dating multiple people may not be the best thing for them.
For me, it wasn't the best thing because I couldn't.
Keep everybody straight.
I mean, I guess I don't know. Like, I couldn't handle all
energy
of
too.
that.
That's
Yeah, different energies. Yeah,
That's different energy.
So also, like what I told my husband when we first met, that when we met in person and we were talking, what I told him when he said, I think I want to take this to the next level, I said, well, let me let you know what that means for me. And I told him a monogamous relationship, no intimacy before marriage, and I needed to tell my ex family because we're really close. I wanted them to know that I had moved on. And his thing was like, but you said ex, why? I said, no, the family's really close, and he's from Liberia as well, thankfully, so he understood. But because I said no intimacy before marriage, she was like, so a short engagement works. And so that's essentially, but I was comfortable, and at first I was nervous meeting him because he's 10 years my senior, right? He's a serious person and all of this, that everyone has said, oh, you know, he's this. But because when we talked on the phone, he was so laid back, we had fun talking and everything like that. He wasn't trying to impress me, but we had easy conversation that I felt okay. I could state these were my terms. You can walk away if you feel like it, but these are my terms because I think I had come to the point like, God, I'm trusting your plan now. It's not my will of doing it. It's going to be your will. And if these are the ways I have to look at it, here's what we're going to do. And that it worked. And I think we just have to sometimes trust it, even though it's scary, because I was like, wow, he seems like a good person on paper. Am I really ready for him to walk away? But okay, I'm going to take a jump. I'm going to try. And it worked. And so when we look at, you have to make up your mind up which path you want to follow. And if it's more saying like, God, you created me, you said you knew me before, and you planted this desire in me to be married, to do this and everything, then trust that. Don't let the world keep telling you, no, you're falling short, you this, you got to take it back into your own hands. Because my sister and I talk about this all the time, that we're the ones who have limited time. And here it is, Kobe gone at 41. But we have them, God's got all the time in the world. So he can sit back and let you keep repeating that until you learn what you need to learn and everything. And so it's just like surrender it, and your will. And give me the courage to accept it. And may look from the world standard that, you're becoming an old maid, you need to jump on this, you need to do this. but be patient, and He will reward your
Believing
patience.
that too is like really trusting. I don't think we really
Correct.
trust is why we go crazy because we don't really trust.
Yeah.
We don't really trust it, or else we would just sit back and be at peace.
Yes.
When I say marriage is not my goal, it's not that it's not my goal. I just don't know.
Focus on that for your
I
good.
just don't know. Anything can happen. Like I don't have like a. I always say I don't have a preference because spirit speaks to me before
Correct.
anything else. So I don't even have to look. Because I know that when it happens, I'm gonna feel
Feel it,
it.
and know it.
I'm like waiting, I guess, for that moment. That's why I don't even care. Like, it's not in my mindset when it comes. Like, hit me so hard, I can't even deny it. And that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like my goal is to feel it on that level, to level that I can't even deny it. And it probably will end up getting married so quickly.
Correct.
If it doesn't happen, it's never on my mind
Mind
for
to
it to
be-
get any
to
goal
be there.
anyways. It doesn't even like hit me so hard, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Well, this is a great discussion, and we're going to continue it, but obviously the podcast has to end. But I want you guys to make sure that you follow at Culture Crew Podcast on Instagram. Go online, www.culturecrewpodcast.com. I want to say thank you to all my friends and family here today who helped in the discussion, the vision boards, and if you're home and you're watching this and you would like to do a vision board, it's a board, some magazine, some glue, put it together, get it going. And also stay tuned. We're gonna be dropping episodes once a month. And make sure that you, on the website, you will see our email and all that information. You can DM me on Instagram for topics and guests that you'd like to be featured. And Culture Crew Podcast Relaunch, episode 1. Thank you.